Hello everybody, I hope that you have a nice Saturday afternoon, evening, or maybe it's even Sunday or completely different day of the week when you watch this video. My name is Simon, and after some weeks without a Tiny Race series or no video for the Tiny Race series, I'm back in this week. And you see that the first race started. It's almost 7 kilometers, so quite long. All the races today are quite long. Like my hair, you see, it's getting longer and longer. So today it was time to take my Castelli, I don't know the English word. It's not a bandana, but in German we say Schweißband. Yes, but my girlfriend said that I'm looking quite well with longer hair, so I let it grow over the winter a little bit, and yeah, we will see. Normally I love to have short hair, very short hair, because I'm sweating so fast and so much. Since I was a little child in the elementary school when there was short break and we played some football outdoors, and after 5 minutes I was completely sweated. I don't know why this is. Maybe there's a context to my high pulse. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor or have any idea of medicine, so yeah. Anyway, we are in the race. 116 riders are here in the first race. All 4 races take place in Makuri Island, and mainly in the new part, the Urukasi or Vurukasi, however you pronounce this correctly. And this first race, I'm just have to go to the Swift Insider page, is on the route Fine and Sandy. And it will end at the so-called tide pool sprint. So a flat and fast finish. And we have the arrow power up. But first we are on this short gravel climb. I hope you have something to drink maybe now in your hand. I also have a hot cup of coffee. Later I will get 1 or 2 beers in the evening. From my girlfriend, her brother is here to visit us. So my girlfriend comes from originally from Slovakia, lives here in Germany for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. And it's the first time that her brother and his girlfriend are here. His wife, they are married. So I thought I start in B, because last week I didn't stream it and I forgot to record it. I started in the A category, and that was not completely my choice. I couldn't sign up for B because auto categorization system said I have to start in A. But I liked it pretty well. I managed to stay always in the first group. I was always completely at my limits, so I could absolutely not sprint. I don't know, let me check my Swift Power profile from the last week. I think I had in none of the 4 races 50 seconds power over 10 watts per kilogram. 8.9, 7.4, 9.5, and in the second race 10.1. But if you have seen some more videos from me, then you know that normally in a sprint I should be able to push 11, 12, on a good day 13 watts per kilogram. So yep, very hard, but it, like I said, it was very funny, and I think it's good if you want to improve. And I'm quite young, I'm 25 years old, so I think I have a lot more potential to improve. And for example, we are racing with our team in the ZRL, the Wattlöwen, since 1.5 years in a B division, and we are all getting better, or some people keep their level. We have some older riders. For example, we have a German champion, an act from this year in our team, Mr. Rainer Beckers. He has won the German championships on the road outdoors in, I don't know in which category, master. He's over 50 years old. So of course, from some older riders, when you're over 50 years old, you have to be realistic, and that you won't make big jumps, and that you will rock in ACAT. But we also have some young people under 30 years old or in the mid-30s, which are getting better and want to get better. So we said that in the next ZRL season, so not season 3, I mean next year, that we definitely want to start as a whole team in an A division. And then we will look how it's going there. But I think if you're only racing in B at some point, that's where I am now, I think, that you don't get that much training effect that you would get in an A category race. So yes. Yeah, so 2.5 kilometers. You see, it happened not that much. There were some small attacks, but nothing that would have a chance, because you see we were a very big field. I think at the climb in the beginning, the majority of the field managed to stay in the front group. For this race, its best setup is aero setup on a road bike, so no gravel. I would say it's my opinion. I think this was also the main opinion if you checked some posts about it, because only the climb in the beginning was on gravel, and now it's all on road. It looks like sand, but it rolls like tarmac. So I think this is was made pretty nice from Swift, because I'm not the biggest fan of too much gravel roads, and okay, not a fan of a gravel road, but I don't like this if the ground from the street is changing a lot and you have to think about a bike swap, or I don't know, if you have a course which is only gravel or 80% gravel and it's clear which bike to take and so on, then it's fun, but I'm not a fan if it's changed all the time. Oh wow, there's a pretty cute small bird beside my window. Now it flew away. Cute. Anyway, we are going to the sprint, and now you will see, I don't know if it was a technical problem, but you have to look on the right side to my watts per kilogram, and not now, but then in the final sprint, because I thought that I was pushing way more watts per kilogram than arrived in the game and what was shown on the display. But I'm also watching the record now for the first time, so maybe I'm wrong and I just had very lazy legs. Okay, still some time. 2 riders are attacking at the front. Wally from Belgium and guy from Japan. Japan. Another teammate from our team, WattFabrik, Bogdan, also a very good rider. And yeah, now it's time to sprint. I think now I'm going all out, and it stays at 10.8. Oh, no, okay. Then I was maybe wrong. It stays all the time above 11 watts per kilogram. Okay. Okay, then I had just really bad legs. I was so sure that there was some technical issue because I was so far behind in the sprint. And you saw it was a position. Let me check the results. Or let me first make the cut and then we talk about the results. So here we are, second race. Once again, we start in the new start pen on the Urukasi map. First race was won by a British guy, Gav Bew from Coalition Team, followed by Ulli Fella from Kirchmair and Tomoaki Yamada from Japan. Also in the top 10, we have the time to say every name from the top 10. Paul Snyman from South Africa, John Bowles, Australia, Kevin Horsley, Britain, Kai Emanuel, Netherlands, Philipp Patzer, Germany, Japanese guy called GM83, and Henrik Oyen, also from Germany. Yes, so this top 10, and I finish on position 15. So, yeah, I'm not happy with that. I always say to myself that I want to finish in the top 10. And normally I should be able to do so. I don't know what was the problem. Maybe bad timing, or you saw this short attacks 1 kilometer ago and I followed them and was in the wind, and maybe, I don't know, whatever. And now second race and I changed the bike. I'm on a gravel bike now. A lot of people are on road bikes. You see a lot of Tron bikes. I saw some Aero setups, but not that many people, I think, on a gravel bike. And this is the race. It was also raced last week, but last week it was 1 lap, and this time it's 1.5 laps, and it will finish at the top of the climb. We will see in a few seconds. And now you see that gravel bike riders are pushed to the front automatically almost, because it's so much easier on a gravel bike on dirt. Yes, so it was a little bit of a risk, I think, because I didn't know how fast the pace will be in the beginning, and yes, but it worked quite well. But now it's too late. When we are on back on tarmac, you have to look on the watts per kilogram on the right side, and that I have to push quite more than the guys on the road bike. But here on the dirt, it's the opposite. So now you can see I'm still at 3.5 now, 4 watts per kilogram, and the other guys on the road bikes were all the time above 4 watts per kilogram. There's again Ulli from Kirchmair team. Yes, there is Ben from WattFabrik, from the Enten Express team in the ZRL. And yes, so I'm on a gravel bike. Wow, I'm talking so much that I have to pay attention what I wanted to say. I forgot it now, but anyway. So now you see a tag from Polish guy, Mr. Traszka, followed by a French one, McCain. And after the climb, we are going on a downhill, and we are still a very big field, 124 riders this time. So I didn't saw that it's necessary to follow these two guys. I didn't saw if they were on road bikes or gravel bikes. I would assume that they are on gravel bikes because they get away so easily. And so I decided to just stay in the draft of the Scottish guy. He was pushing fast, but not too fast. And now we are on a downhill. And yep, also an advantage on the gravel bike. Maybe we will see here the same picture on the right side with the watt per kilograms, that I'm pushing 2.5, 3 watts per kilogram, and the others on the road bikes, you see there are a lot of Tron bikes now around me. They are far above 3 watts per kilogram. So that was quite nice. And in the end, I think it was the right decision to go with a gravel bike, because the kilometers which are now on tarmac are very flat, and you know, when it's flat and you're a big group, then the pace normally lowers. So it's easier on a gravel bike to hold the wheel, and when there is a climb, even it's not the finished climb, it's automatically that everybody increases the watts per kilogram, because I want to make the group smaller or whatever. And so this is the point where you want to have an advantage, and so yes, that's why I think it's the best decision to go with a gravel bike in this race. But there are still a lot of Tron bikes, as you can see. And it was also a mental advantage for me, even though I was very unhappy with my first race. I knew if I managed to stay in the first group when we were hitting the climb, then I have an advantage because I'm on gravel bike, and you know, in sports it's also a lot to, it has a lot to do with your mental stuff, your thinking and so on. It's like choosing another bike. I mean, if you're riding the Tron bike or a Specialized S-Works with discs, the disc wheel is of course a little bit faster, but not that much. But it feels better if you have the disc wheel on a sprint finish, for example. You know what I mean if you're swifting. So yeah. Yes, before I forgot, I want to say thank you that quite a lot of people are watching the videos I'm uploading. Makes me very happy. I mean, I'm just doing this for fun. So just to see and analyze my racing. So it's also an advantage for me to see what mistakes did I made, because it's easier to see to analyze this when you see the record. Because in the race you're at the limit and you just see the finish line and that's all. And on the other hand, I realize that's why I am mostly making my videos in English now, that it's good for my English, because when you're not traveling a lot, or I don't know, then you're not using that much English. Of course, when we watch some movies or series with my girlfriend, if it's an American or a British film, so we always watch in the original language, so mostly English, and then of course subtitles. But listening and understanding and speaking are two completely different pairs of shoes. I don't know if you say this like this in English. Zwei verschiedene Paar Schuhe, we would say in German, but you know what I mean. And yes. And if I get then more and more views and subscribers, I hit over 50 subscribers, then it's even more nice, and yes. Thank you. Now the last part on this sandstone. I want to talk about it. I will do this in the next video. So, I forgot to say what the name of the route is. It's Mac Isle Loop. And like I said, 1.5 rounds. So you can see already in the mini map the blue finish line, the virtual banner, don't know. And yes, so far I'm in a good position. Yeah, maybe none. Okay, no, it's good position. And from last week I know this is quite long. So the first guys start to sprint the orange numbers, and I thought this is too early. It's still over 400 meters uphill sprint. So I tried to have a high pace, above 7 watts per kilogram, but not too high. And now when it's under 300 meters, I also went not completely all out, but nearly all out. And now I realize, okay, I can get the second guy. And now I realize, okay, I get also Ulli. And now it's only 60 meters, so come on, man. And that's it. Took the win. Felt very, very good after the first race. And yeah, you can see there. You could see my setup. So the Canyon, I think it's Canyon Grail, and some of the gravel wheel sets. Okay, let me make a cut. Yeah, and this is Oni's race, which starts in Neokyo and not in Urukazi. And I was completely wasted from the first race. I have to say this. Yes, I had to put down my sweat thing from the head because it was completely wet and didn't felt very nice. And my legs were really completely, at the end you saw how hard it is for me to start and how far behind I'm already in the peloton, position 80. And you will see this quite often in this race, that I'm hanging way too far at the end of the peloton. Yes. So the results from the second race. So I took the win, as you saw, and on the second place was Jonas Bach, Danish guy, Danish Swift Riders, and Ulli from Kirchmair on third place from Germany. And the top 10 are completed by Kevin Horsley, Dennis Larsson, Cyrus McCain, Jack Somerset, Mats Buster, Drago Bergholt und Kai Emanuel. So, yes. This course is turf and surf, I think. Let me check. Yes, turf and surf. You know this maybe from last week race Makuri, Z Racing Series, November, stage 2. It was on turf and surf. Or was it stage 3? I'm not sure. Yes, so you start in Neokyo, very flat race in the first half, and then you go to Urukazi, and then you come back. I think this was this week's race, so stage 3, yes. Yes, power up a steamroller, and this is once again a situation. You can see position 94 completely at the end, and it felt so hard to push even above 3 or 3.5 watts per kilogram. In the break between the races, which were very, very short today, I felt like I had to what is it called in English? When you drink too much alcohol, then you have to, you know what I mean. I managed to keep everything in my stomach, but yes, I hadn't had such a feeling for a long time. So I race a lot of the Tiny Race series, and I always feel completely busted and at my limits, but this was a different feeling. And once again, I have to pay attention to not get dropped after 2 kilometers. A lot of people are using steamrollers. It was funny to watch. One guy started to use it. Hopefully that it makes no sense to use it now, because steamroller makes surface feel like tarmac for 30 seconds. But if you're in tarmac, it makes no sense to use it, But one guy used it, and then maybe another one who wasn't sure what this power-up makes said, he uses it, okay. Then maybe I should use it too. And then you saw just some seconds ago how all the violet power-ups were showing. Yes, very funny. Domino effect. Let me take a sip of my coffee before it gets cold. And yes, I wanted to talk about the new map extension, Urukazi. And I was a little bit afraid that there would be too much gravel and dirt and stuff like that. When you saw the first screenshots some weeks or days before it was launched, it looked like, it's just sand and dirt and that was also what you could read in some forums, like under the Swift Insider posts or on our team's Discord server and so on. And yeah, I was very surprised when I did my first rides and I realized that this sand feels like tarmac. And yes, this is pretty nice. And I think it's not sand, it's in German I would say Sandstein. I just translate it to English. If it's called sandstone. Yes, okay, it's called sandstone. I thought it would be too easy to translate it like this. And so some people then said, it's not realistic that you're riding on sand as fast as on tarmac. But yes, I think that this should be sandstone and not sand. Because it looks more like a stone when you take a look on it closer. For example, when you're riding there at the beaches, and on the left and right there is a beach and real sand, and this looks different than the surface of the road where you're riding. So I think it's sandstone, like on a promenade at the beach. So yes, pretty nice. In general, I really like the extension. Eurocasi feels very, very nice and warm with a blue sea, the palms, and wow, I really, really love it. So the only point I could say negative about is that I'm missing a climb, a real climb. We have this climb we saw in the second race. This is not a climb, this is you go up a bridge and then down. And then you will see in the last race the other climb. But it's also just like 3 or 4 minutes all the time over 30 kilometers per hour. So this is not a real climb. It's also not a KOM segment in the game. So yeah, that's what I'm missing. But maybe someday there will be a climb to the Mount Fuji. You can always see in the background this high volcano. I think it's very high. One day I was googling it because I wanted to know how high it is. I think it's called Mount Fuji. Fuji, yes, almost 4,000 meters, 3,776.24 to be exactly. Yes, I don't think that we will get a climb that is 2,000 or 3,000 meters of elevation long, but yes. It would be pretty nice to have 1 or 2 climbs, maybe like the Epic Com in Watopia, where you have 300, 400 meters of elevation. Because in general, this map has a lot of potential, I think, with the city and then Makuri. Is it called Makuri? The first part of the map. And now with this map in Caribbean style. Anyway, it's just 2 kilometers to go. Position is okay now, all the time in the draft. Once again, some people using their steamrollers, makes no sense. And in this time I not only have very bad legs, but also I think I misused my power-up. Because the finish line will be somewhere in this canyon, this new canyon road down to Eurocasi, and I wasn't sure if the finish line is on dirt or on tarmac, though I thought it would be maybe smart to keep the steamroller until 500 meters, 400 meters to the finish line. But I think the finish was on tarmac, so the best point to use the steamroller is in a few seconds when the dirt starts, and this is also what a lot of people are doing. I see this and I know then if I don't use my steamroller, then I have almost to sprint to grab their wheels, and this is what I am doing now. You can see 7 watts per kilogram, 8 watts per kilogram, orange numbers, and I still have no chance to hold the wheels. So Now I'm also using my power up and hope to get to the front. Now you see that there's a gap opening, so everything not fine. Now we are on wood. Wood is much, much faster than tarmac, and now we are on sandstone. So all the seconds I have left with my power up now are completely useless because we are on sandstone. I should have used it immediately when the dirt has started in the tunnel. But yes, afterwards you're always smarter, and now you can see how much I'm suffering because there's nothing left in my tank. It's just like, okay, maybe I get some or not, and now you see I shake my head and I'm already over 50 meters before the finish line. I couldn't pedal anymore and was just rolling through the finish line. In the third race I finished on position, give me a second, 16. So once again, not good. First race 15, now 16. Wasn't that happy. But when I saw the results, so the winner was Tatsuya Kaga from Japan, followed by Jerome Lammers, Philip Patza, Tomoaki Yamada, Jack Somerset, Yushi Kitahara, Paul Snyman, Mats Buster, Kevin, and Gav Boo. So were the top 10. That today, in this tiny race series, there wasn't one guy who was all the time in the top 3 or continuously in the top 5 or top 10. And then I was just calculating a little bit, just approximately in my head, what are my chances maybe to get on the podium in the GC at the end if I make a good result in the last race. And then I realized, yep, it's definitely possible to get on the podium in the series GC if I finish now quite well and maybe one of the other quite good guys struggle and finish not that far at the front. But I also knew that this is completely not my race now or finish, because it's a downhill sprint. And the power-up should have been the anvil. And it's 1-to-1, it's the same race from last week. And it was so chaotic in the last week, because you will see in the downhill, it's like in 2 parts. The first downhill passage is a longer one, then it becomes a little bit flat, and then there's another short downhill, and then there's the finish. And in the last race, I used my anvil, like a lot of people, almost the majority of the people in this first part of the downhill section. And then we were overtaken by some guys who used it in the second part, and it was quite, it was funny. Yes. But I can tell you already that once again, in the fourth race, was also last week the problem that the power-ups wasn't correct. So not everyone grabbed the same power-up in this last race now. We will get it when we are at the sprint banner at the top of the short climb which starts in a few seconds. So it was like the normal power-ups you have when you are free riding. So feather, ban, helmet, and XP bonus. Yes, you will see what I will get, and if this could improve my chances on a good position. And I'm checking if there are already some results from this morning, because now it's 2:30 in Germany, so in the race we're at 10, but there are no results there so far, because like I said, it will be very, very close in the B category today, I think. Maybe I will write it in the video description, so you can see what were the results and if I managed to get on the podium. Yes. So this is the climb I was talking about. See, always just like 3, 4, maybe sometimes 5%, 30 kilometers per hour. Drafting, if you're in the draft, it's much more easier. But the pace wasn't that high because everybody was suffering. We were also writing in the chat between the races how hard this is today. It's like I said in the beginning, today all 4 races were quite long for a tiny race series, and we always had just breaks between 4 and 5 minutes. And yes, normally sometimes there is a race in between which is way shorter, like just 4 or 5 kilometers, and then you have at least one times a little bigger break. But today was really, really hard. So 3.3 to go. Still on the climb for I don't know how many meters, left turn, and then you see on the mini map. Yes, and then we had an attack. You also see on the mini map in the top right corner. I think this is Wahoo from Belgium. But nobody follows him. So once again, for me, I knew, let him go. There is a very long descent. Before the descent is a very flat part, so if we are in a bunch, we would easily bring him back. And yes, maybe he realized this too and let him fall back again. It looked in the video that he was completely dropped, but he managed easily to stay in the bunch. So yes, and he will finish on the 7th position. I can already say, Mr. Wahoo from Belgium. Yes, good rider. A race ranking from 105. Strong, not strong. 1 minute power and 50-second power, but also not that heavy, 75 kilograms. Anyway, so there we will grab our power-ups, and hopefully I will get the aero helmet or the drafting van, because that's what you need in a high-speed downhill mass sprint finish. And it is, yay! It is the feather. And you can see in my face the reaction that I'm not that happy with it. Let's drink some water. Yes. But I was thinking that if I want to go on the GC in the end, that I would anyway have needed quite a lot of luck, that other riders finish not that far at the front and so on. So I took it with a smiling, and I didn't had that much pressure at the moment. And now we are on this first downhill section. You see that some riders got dropped, but we are still quite a big bunch. Ooh, my hair looks very funny, by the way. Oh my god. Next time I'm wearing the Stirnband all the time. Looks better. Don't want to hurt your eyes. Yes, so this is, by the way, Island Outskirts, the name of this route. Yes. So, and this is now the flat part, and after the right corner it's going downhill again. That's what I was talking about. And yes, what else can I say? I'm not going to use my feather, because I thought it would make no sense in the downhill part to be lighter. And I just started quite early, 300 meters to go all out. And now I thought, oh my god, all the aero helmets, I have no chance. But somehow it seemed that I had one of the freshest legs, and to take the second place, you saw all the other guys around me had the almost everyone the aero helmets. So if I would have had an aero helmet or even the van, I think I would manage to take the win with this power and timing. And yes, that's it. Second place, winner was Tomoaki Yamada. Third place, Kevin Horsley. And then also Kevin, Paul Klomp, Andrew Hart, Wally, Gav Bew, Ulli Fella and Mats Buster. And yes, like I said, I will post the GC standings, results, whatever, in the video description. I wish all of you a nice rest weekend. Take a ride, indoors, outdoor, wherever. Give the video a thumbs up, would make me very happy. I always, it brings me a little smiling if someone give me a thumbs up or leaves a comment or subscribes to the channel. And yes, we will see each other, I think, next week. Stage 4, Race Mercury. I will upload a video, I think, when I'm racing. Also very good position in the GC at the moment there. Yeah, that's it. Goodbye.